Today, we're diving into a really big deal for Sri Lanka's business world, a brand new law that's going to completely change the game when a company gets into financial trouble. And trust me, this isn't just some small tweak, it's a whole new way of thinking. So, let's get right into it. You know, it's the question that keeps every business owner and investor up at night, right? What happens when a perfectly good company with a great product and a fantastic team just hits a rough patch? When the cash flow dries up? The answer to that question pretty much defines how risky it is to do business in a country. And for a long time in Sri Lanka, the answer was, well, pretty brutal. Just imagine a popular local bakery. They've got loyal customers, amazing food, but then a bad tourist season hits, and suddenly they're in a cash crunch. Under the old rules, that one bad season could send them straight to the corporate graveyard, liquidation. That means selling off all their ovens, their shop, everything, usually for pennies on the dollar. A terrible outcome for the family, for their employees, and for the suppliers who are left holding the bag. But that's all about to change. There's a new rulebook in town, and it's designed to shift away from that liquidate first, ask questions later mindset to something way more constructive. And here it is, the Rescue, Rehabilitation and Insolvency Bill of 2026. This is a massive overhaul of the old laws, and honestly, the name itself tells you everything you need to know. Look at those first two words, rescue and rehabilitation. That's the new priority. I mean, this quote from the bill's own preamble just spells it out perfectly. The goal is to support the rehabilitation and rescue of viable businesses. It's not about punishing failure anymore. It's about preserving value, saving jobs, and ultimately promoting economic activity. That is a huge philosophical shift. So you're probably wondering, how does it actually do that? Well, the law creates a bunch of new tools, basically new pathways for a company to find its way back to health. Let's break down what these new options look like. Now, this right here is probably one of the most important changes. Look at the new order of things. For that bakery we were talking about, the first phone call isn't to an auction house anymore. Nope. The first step is to try and negotiate a new plan. If that doesn't work, an expert can come in to try and save the business. And only if both of those fail do you even start talking about liquidation. It's been pushed all the way to the bottom of the list, the absolute last resort. And this is a total game changer, especially for the small businesses that are the real backbone of the economy. The law creates a special, simple process for them, our bakery, for instance, to sit down with their bank and their flour supplier and just work it out. Maybe they agree to smaller payments for a while until business picks up again. It's a low-cost, straightforward way to get a second chance. Okay, so what if things are a bit more complicated? That's where administration comes in. The best way to think about this is like sending the company to a financial hospital. Let's say it's a tech startup this time, and they just burned through their cash too fast. An independent expert, an insolvency practitioner, comes in to take over. And their job isn't to sell off the laptops, it's to stabilize the patient, maybe find new investment, and get the company back on its feet. This all sounds really good on paper, right? But what does it actually mean for the people on the ground? Let's talk about the real-world benefits for both the entrepreneurs running these businesses and the investors putting their money into them. This chart just lays it out so clearly. We're moving away from a system that was high-risk and totally unpredictable, where companies were just sold for parts. Now we're moving toward a framework that's stable and predictable and all about maximizing value. For an investor, that predictability is gold. It means your investment is way more secure, even if the company stumbles. And if you're a business owner, the message here is huge. An honest mistake, or just a bit of bad luck, doesn't have to be the end of the road. This whole law is designed to create a rescue culture. It gives you a clear roadmap to get through the tough times, which is going to encourage more people to take that leap and start a business in the first place. Now, you might be thinking, what about the people who are owed money, the investors, the suppliers? Well, this new system is actually way better for them too. A rescue tech startup is worth a whole lot more than a pile of used computers. The new framework actually encourages everyone to work together on a rescue plan because in the end, it leads to a much better financial outcome for everybody involved. It's a win-win. So when you put all of these pieces together, you realize this is so much more than just a new law. It really feels like it could be the start of a whole new economic chapter for Sri Lanka. And just for context, it's worth noting that this major overhaul was brought forward under the National People's Power, or NPP government. It definitely signals a clear policy choice to modernize the country's business laws. Which brings us to the big final question. By creating an environment that's more stable, more predictable, and more focused on rescue, Could this one law be the key that unlocks a brand new wave of investment and entrepreneurship in Sri Lanka? It's a framework that's built for growth, and you can bet a lot of people are going to be watching very, very closely to see what happens next.